Hello, happy July, and welcome to the monthly exploration and encouragement episode on the Simplified Year podcast, where I aim to give you not just an overview of what we'll be covering this month in our Simplified Year rhythm, but also hopefully give you some insights into what this journey can look like and help you not to feel alone in this journey, because trust me, I have been there and I get it. In case you don't know me yet, I'm Brianna Hozak, most commonly called Coach Bree. I'm an authentic leadership mentor for legacy leading women, a business coach, and a minimalist who actually started out my online entrepreneurial business career in roughly 2018-2019 as a minimalist coach for moms who were overwhelmed with all their clutter. I'm a mom of 3, plus I've got pets, as well as being an author, podcaster, speaker, blogger, illustrator, shamanic practitioner, shamanic Reiki practitioner, holy fire Reiki practitioner, and so much more. So I'm multi-passionate as fuck, and one of those passions is helping other women simplify their lives so that they can live joyfully and fulfilled to the highest degree possible with less stress, more alignment, and more flow. Simplifying is foundational in everything I do, from my business coaching to leadership mentoring, and even in my energy work. So this isn't just some side hustle or random tangent for me. The Simplified Year is the result of almost a decade of learning, implementing, and simplifying my stuff, my calendar, my business, and more. Simplifying my life actually saved my life when I was so depressed that I was ready to give up. So it's serious. I take it seriously. It matters so much. And every time I look back before I started decluttering, it shakes me. Again, it shocks me to my core to think of all the things that I didn't understand or the ways that I blamed and shamed myself when I was too busy being overwhelmed with my clutter that I had never been taught to release. And here's some examples for this month. I thought gadgets saved me time. I bought all the gadgets, all the time. But I never really used them beyond maybe like once or twice when they were brand new because number 1, I couldn't find them in the clutter. Number 2, I would forget I even had a gadget to look for. And then number 3, most of the time, the good old-fashioned way of doing something actually worked better or was more functional or just straight up took less time than trying to maneuver a new tool I didn't fully grasp how to use, let alone the space that they took up in my kitchen. I think the only one I ever truly loved and got great use out of was a grape cutter. It instantly sliced grapes into 4 quarters that a baby couldn't choke on if they tried. And I ran a day home at the time with approximately 6 toddlers under my care at any given time, including my own. So that gadget was worthwhile. And I think this is a great point as well, because one of the common misunderstandings about minimalism or decluttering in general is that you can't keep stuff, that you have to get rid of everything and just live in this sterile, empty house. And that couldn't be further from the truth for me. Minimalism for me has always been about cutting back on excess, creating less waste for our environment, and making our lives more simple, calm, and peaceful. And I mean, that damn grape cutter saved me at least an hour of grape cutting a week back in the day. So I'm not saying all gadgets are bad, right? But I mean, another example, how to me back then, plastic dishes seemed like the best idea for kids because they don't break, right? But when I looked a little closer, all of the peeling plastic after using them, first of all, through so many kids because I had a day home for about 10 years, and then also using them longer than necessary as my kids got a little older and could have graduated into the quote unquote adult dishes, right? It meant that my kids were probably dosed up on microplastics. Like all that little peeling gunk would be getting in their food. And I mean, like we don't get enough toxic crap in our everyday environment already, right? Why would we want to add that? So these were things that I never would have thought of before though. However, now I choose to have less of these tools or these options available and have more space instead. And as someone who does not love cooking, having my kitchen be down to brass tacks, bare minimum, and mostly empty drawers means that I don't get overwhelmed. I know where the items I need are at all times. Almost everything can be washed in one dishwasher load so that I don't ever have the overflowing sinks of dirty dishes that are too intimidating to even start cleanup on, if you ask me. If you have ADHD like I do, you know what I mean. So I hope that if you're in that cycle of overwhelming clutter in any way, shape, or form, at any level, that what I share here in the Simplified Year helps you to break free. So this month in July, we are focused on the kitchen. And yes, we were already in the kitchen this year. But the last time we were focused on our food supplies, the insides of our pantries and the fridges and the freezers. And this time we are decluttering to simplify our tools so that supper time is smooth sailing instead of stressful, right? Instead of being rushed or even being avoided altogether and just picking up fast food. So I will link all of the July posts down in the show notes for easy access. And of course, you can always find them on the Simplified Year Rhythm tab on the Substack page. But let's dive in a little deeper here this month. And if we get really honest, okay, let's get really honest right now. Right about now, the kitchen feels like the last place on earth that you want to be. You want to be out in the sunshine, in the water with watermelon juice dripping down your chin while your feet are in the grass, right? Not in a dimly lit kitchen, not digging through a pile of Tupperware, and not dealing with a hot stovetop. But here's what I know deep down. When we simplify the places we spend the most time in, even the ones that feel hard, we reclaim so much more than just our space. We reclaim our presence and our peace. So today's episode is a little pep talk for those of us feeling like kitchen work is the opposite of summer joy. Okay, this is for when you're wilting in the heat, dreaming of the beach, but life is calling you back into your kitchen. So let's talk about that tension between life and dreams, right? And how we can shift it by decluttering. So first off, summer in ancient times was a time of joyful labor. Right? People gathered together, they toiled, they weeded, they tilled the earth, they worked in the sun. And it wasn't necessarily a hustle or grind that was happening, but it was this embodied effort in rhythm with the earth's abundance, right? And now we tend to swing between two extremes instead. Either this total hustle where we are cleaning the house till it's spotless, meal prepping every single meal, fumbling around in the kid chaos, planning barbecues, running from event to event, or we fantasize about escaping it all. And sometimes we actually fall into a groove of escaping it all, right? We're just lying in the hammock, ignoring everything, letting it all pile up for later. And while that's okay to do sometimes, it can become overwhelming when we let it build up too much, right? But our bodies literally crave the sun. Right? Our nervous systems crave the slowness of a beach day, and that is okay. But when the real natural rhythms of summer meet the demands of modern, fast-paced life, including that damn cluttered kitchen, it's like this perfect storm. It is so overwhelming that, again, we make choices that we wouldn't want to make. We choose fast food over a healthy meal, or we choose packaged toxin-filled snacks instead of a salad, So that's why when I talk about Tupperware and exploding drawers and gadgets and kids' dishes, it's less about the actual stuff itself than it is about reclaiming your energy. And when I talk about this stuff, apply it to what applies to you. So if you've got kids, then great, focus on those kids' dishes. If you don't, apply it to what applies to you, whatever plastic dishes you have. Or, when I say Tupperware, I tend to use that word for all plastic containers. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be the brand Tupperware, right? But you do what applies for you in your kitchen. Now, I want to emphasize that I know the resistance you might feel towards decluttering your kitchen this summer, because I feel it too. I don't even have windows in my kitchen. Okay, my kitchen's right in the middle of my house. And I am the type of person who would still go to bed with the sun instead of using fake light like people used to do, right? If only I didn't live in Canada with basically 8 months of winter and shorter daylight hours. So on top of not loving to cook in the first place, and despite the fact that I lucked out with a beautifully designed and decored kitchen in the place that I'm renting, my dark kitchen, even with all the fake lights on, is not the most exciting place for me to be. So I have to be really extra intentional about setting myself up for success inside of it. And what your kitchen feels like matters, right? And it's not just about how it looks. You might not have a sun-drenched kitchen like I don't. Maybe you've got what I've got, a windowless box that feels stale, right? But the way that your kitchen feels is not just visual. It's also energetic. So if it's cluttered, it's probably feeling heavy. If your cupboards are overflowing, then it's probably stressful and overwhelming. There's a lot of unmade decisions, right? If your counters are drop zones, then you tend to go in there to cook a meal and feel behind before you even start. So every item that's in your kitchen holds energetic weight. And while you may not be able to punch a hole in your wall to create a window so that you have sunshine, you can clear some of that clutter so that your kitchen feels energetically lighter and brighter, okay? So when your body wants the beach and your kitchen feels like it's more of a burden than anything else, of course you're avoiding it. So it makes perfect sense to me. But you live here. You live in your home, and that includes your kitchen. You feed your people, your family there, right? You nourish your body. You enhance your joy and your pleasure by that nourishment in that kitchen. So let's make it sacred again. So in spiritual practice, every action we take can be sacred. And now you don't have to be a spiritualist. You don't have to have any beliefs whatsoever to take this into account, okay? But every action that we do can be sacred. The food that we serve our families, or even if we're just preparing it for ourselves, if you're solo, can be prepped in this sacred way. The prep can be done with intention. You can infuse your meals with love, or it can be done with irritation and frustration and thoughtless anger and annoyance, right? And it does make a difference in the grand scheme of things. It makes a difference when you sit down with your plated food to the energy in your home, to the conversations you're having with your family. It makes a difference in how that food nourishes your body and how it feels inside of you. No matter what you're cooking, no matter what you're prepping, that intention has a much bigger impact than I think most people realize. So what I want for you is for your kitchen to become less like a war zone and more like a womb, okay? A space where nourishment is created and where ingredients are transformed into meals, and not a space where you are just feeling burnt out and overwhelmed and frustrated. But that doesn't come necessarily from, big overhauls like redoing your kitchen and getting custom cabinets or punching a hole in the wall to make a window. It comes from this intentional, it's more of a slow, steady pace, this week by week, removing the things that don't belong until it's filled with ease and open space, which gives you back your peace and your time. So let's make it easier to say yes to being in the kitchen with some simple wins. So this month, there's a few examples of things that I can think of that might help, especially when you'd rather be anywhere else. Number one is to focus on the energy of ease. Just every item that you remove from your kitchen gives you 1 second of breath back for every time that you open that drawer or cupboard. Maybe more than 1 second. And these seconds add up to minutes every single day because you're in there, multiple snacks a day if you've got young kids, multiple meals a day. Those minutes every day add up to hours every week. And those hours every week add up to days every year of saved time. Number 2, build a ritual. Okay, you can make your kitchen sacred. You can make the space feel sacred. You can light a candle before you do meal prep. If you have a specific smell that you want to have in there that just makes you enjoy the space more, you can put on music that feels like the sun is in there, like the sunshine is shining in there, even if you can't see it. If you do have a window, my goodness, open it, open the curtains, open the blinds, crack it open and get fresh air inside. and, put on music that makes you want to dance while you're cooking even. That is one of my most favorite ways to get myself on board with cooking a meal is to dance. I love putting on something that's really high energy and it gets me going. Other things you can do is keeping fresh herbs on the windowsill, right? If you have one. Or you can liven up your space with a little bit of nature brought in. If you can't see out of a window, if you don't have a window, you can bring in, a bowl of fruit or some cut flowers, or, the kids pick wildflowers every day or whatever while they're outside. Just whatever it is that can help to really lighten up that energy in your kitchen. And then you can cook together. You can make it fun instead of it being like this lonely chore that you have to endure. And then another thing is, and you'll hear me talk about this more and more throughout all of these episodes, is just working with instead of against the seasons. One thing that I really want to infuse my work with here in the Simplified Year, in all of the places, all of the things that I do, is working with cycles, working with the energy of nature and working with those seasons. And summer is a time of lightness and fun, right? It's so bright out. It's so much more energetic. There's so much excitement going on. So apply that to your kitchen, right? Bring as much of that into your kitchen as possible, whether that's, having a friend over while you cook, they sit in there chatting with you. Again, bringing that nature in from outside, whatever it is for you, try to bring that lightness and fun into your spaces if you need to be inside instead of out. Another way you can do this is go really simple with meals. Instead of, having 3-course meals or 5-course meals, have really simple meals that are just one course. They're straightforward, they're easy to make, and everybody enjoys them. And allow maybe more snacks, maybe have them be more healthy snacks, like, bring out the watermelon. There's a great snack and you can eat it outside, and it doesn't take much time inside of your kitchen, right? So go simple with the meals. Simple ingredients lists, raw foods, maybe less courses per meal, whatever that looks like for you. And just remember, you don't have to love being in your kitchen all the time, but I don't want you to dread it. You just need it to not steal from your energy so that you have more energy for the rest of your life. And when you give it just a little bit of your attention to declutter and clean out some of the stuff that isn't needed in there anymore, it becomes easier to cook, easier to clean, and easier to leave so you can actually enjoy the damn sunshine. So by myself, I still hate cooking, but I don't hate cooking because of the state of my kitchen. I don't dread going in there because of my kitchen. So your kitchen is part of your road to freedom. And if you weave it into this new rhythm that you're building for yourself with the Simplified Year, it will set you free. There is this rhythm to life. And when you allow it, it doesn't set you up to require vacations, right? You don't, not that you have to deny yourself vacations either, but it's not like, I need to escape and it's all just too much all the time. So this rhythm you're creating here with me just asks for less chaos, less maybe some days, and less fighting with your space. So this month, this week, this whole summer, let your kitchen be a softer place than maybe you're used to it being. Let it breathe a little bit more. Open it up to having some wide open space, some clear space that isn't just jam-packed full of stuff that you can't even get at. Let it support you instead of draining you. And remember, whether you're doing this in rhythm with us or whether you hopped in at this point because something just recently or not so recently stopped functioning the way you need it to, and it was your straw that broke the camel's back, you are right where you need to be. So welcome to the rhythm of the Simplified Year.